And now we'll be talking about challenges and barriers.
How can I ask for help if I don't have the words?
I would say you just ask for help. There are no wrong words when it comes to asking and seeking support for your mental health. And as a therapist or an individual that you're seeking support from, we're just going to meet you where you're at and help you work together to determine what's going on and what the best supports are for you based on the circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's a really perfect way. Recognizing that you don't have to have it all figured out. That's part of our role and our work, is that we explore whatever shows up for you. Maybe one other thing I'll add is just kind of noticing what it is that you're feeling or experiencing. So are you noticing that it's hard to focus? Are you noticing that it's hard for you to get out of bed? Maybe that could also be a starting point for you as well.
So our job is really just to have a dialogue with you, and together we're gonna, determine what's going on. My English isn't the best, and I can't communicate what my feeling is to my partner. How do I deal with this?
This is something that I can definitely relate to. My indigenous tongue, there's actually no specific word for mental health. And so my hope is that between the ways that we were able to answer some of the questions earlier about talking about thoughts, talking about emotions, maybe even describing how certain things are making you feel. So are you feeling a sense of heaviness, for example? Is that in many languages, there might not be a direct translation for mental health, but going back to some of our answers around well-being, maybe that can be a starting point. The other thing that I would say to be mindful of or recognize is there might be a lot of therapists that actually speak your language, and that can be a really helpful tool for you to have better words to be able to describe it in your own indigenous language. What are your thoughts?
I would agree, and I would just add, seek out an interpreter, or as Amma had stated, someone that could provide that support that's able to translate and bring to light what you're saying. So just really what we're saying here is just seek support, and we will work with you to bridge the gap in ensuring that you're able to disseminate and say what you need to say so that you have access to the right supports.
You can't help me with my mental health unless you can help me with my money.
I think here we're talking about insecurities. So it sounds like this is a question where the individual is impacted by some financial impact, and as such may be tied to some level of expense or some responsibility. And that may be the issues or the reason that the individual is dealing with some level of mental health. So for us, we're really going to kind of get to the root of your problem. So if there's an issue around economics and finance, we'll help you to resolve that through probably doing some problem solving and help to really see how that situation is impacting your mental health, and in part work together to really get to some solution focused space.
So one thing a social worker or support worker might do is give you access to, let's say, a food bank. So there are ways that we can talk about how, of course, are these economic challenges impacting you, but also provide you some solutions around getting basic needs met that can help assist in alleviating some of the stressors that are caused as a result.
And I think one other addition is what we as social workers like to say is like, what are the intersections? So what is happening? What is like the primary concern? And how is this concern impacting all of the areas of your life? And I think as we highlighted today, mental health is a barrage of things, and these intersections sometimes collide. So the hope is to identify in this question, like the money is a situation, but it might be impacting relationship, it might be impacting other factors. So really just being able to identify what's going on and look at that flow and see how we can best get to that place of solution.